In a remote corner of India, where the sun rose over green fields and faded mud houses, lived a young boy named Arjun. His village had no tarred roads, no proper school building, and no electricity. Life was quiet and hard. Arjun was the youngest of 3 siblings. His father toiled in the fields from dawn to dusk as a farm laborer, earning barely enough to feed the family. His mother collected firewood, worked in others' homes, and often returned home exhausted, with a smile that hid her pain. Despite everything, they gave their children one thing that mattered most: values. Arjun grew up watching hardship. His slippers were always too small, his notebooks always second-hand, and his meals never guaranteed. Yet, he never complained. Why? Because Arjun had a fire in his heart. He didn't want to live the life he saw around him. He dreamed of breaking free. He wanted to study, succeed, and serve. But dreaming wasn't enough. His village school had no benches. Students sat on the floor, sometimes under the open sky. When it rained, classes stopped. There were only 2 teachers for 5 classes. Books were shared, and exams meant writing on torn sheets of paper. Yet, Arjun loved learning. He would ask questions, stay after class, and borrow books from older students. At home, there was no electricity. So every evening, when the sun dipped behind the hills, Arjun would carry his books and sit under the only working streetlight in the village. The ground beneath him was cold, air filled with the buzz of insects. But he sat there, night after night, writing, solving problems, memorizing poems, and chasing dreams with every turn of a page. People noticed. This boy, they said, has something special in him. Some laughed, some admired, but Arjun never looked back. One day, a district education officer came to the school for an inspection. He was unimpressed by the facilities but curious about the quiet, focused boy sitting at the back, Arjun. The officer gave a sudden oral test. Arjun answered every question clearly and confidently, surprising everyone. When asked about his study habits, Arjun simply said, "Greater than, I study under the streetlight every night. I want to become someone who can build schools for children like me." The officer was moved. He arranged for a full scholarship and boarding in a government school in the city. It was Arjun's first time leaving the village. His parents cried. His mother packed a small bag with homemade food and whispered, "Don't forget us when you become big." The city was overwhelming. Crowded buses, tall buildings, fast-spoken English, everything felt foreign. In his new school, students had smartphones, private tutors, branded bags. Arjun had just his books, 2 pairs of clothes, and a steel lunchbox. But what he lacked in resources, he made up with discipline, humility, and grit. He woke up at 4 a.m., read before classes, spent his lunch breaks revising, and went to the library after school. Other students played games. Arjun studied. He wasn't the fastest learner, but he was the most consistent. Slowly, teachers noticed him. Some offered extra help. Some even lent him books and old notes. There were times he felt alone. He missed his family. He missed his village. Once, during winter, he fell sick but didn't tell anyone, afraid that he might be sent home. Instead, he pushed through the fever, showed up for class, and never gave up. Years went by. In the final school exams, Arjun topped the district. He received a medal from the chief minister. His story spread in newspapers, from Streetlight to Spotlight. He earned a seat in a prestigious engineering college. And then, he did what seemed impossible. He cleared the civil services exam on his very first attempt. From a barefoot boy under a streetlight to an IAS officer serving the country, Arjun had done it. At his first public speech, standing on a stage in front of hundreds of children, Arjun said, "Greater than, when I was young, I didn't have much. Not money, not electricity, not proper books. But I had a dream. I had my mother's blessings. I had my father's hands that never stopped working. And I had my village that taught me the value of every grain, every rupee, and every second." He paused and looked at the students. "Greater than, you don't need perfect conditions to build your future. You need belief, honesty, and effort. The road is never easy, but it's always worth it. I studied under a streetlight, but today, I light the lamp of hope in hundreds of villages." After becoming an officer, Arjun started education programs in remote areas. He built libraries in rural schools, offered scholarships to students in need, and launched a campaign called Light for Learning, installing solar lights in villages so no child would ever need to study in the dark again. And yet, he never forgot where he came from. Every year, on the same date he received his scholarship, he visits his old village, sits under that same streetlight, now upgraded with solar panels, and reads a book, just like he did as a child. Moral of the story: you may be poor in money, but you can be rich in determination. You may be alone, but if your will is strong, you're already on the path to greatness. No street is too dark if your heart carries the light of hope. True success is not just reaching the top, it's lifting others along the way.